In the bustling city of Madrid, a new day dawned. Salesman Sergio contacted a potential client, while homeless Israel was once again displaced. Trini, a gambling addict, requested credit at the grocery store. Meanwhile, Elena, a young woman, shared her online dating experiences with a friend. Elena's phone battery drained, leading her to seek refuge in a local bar. She requested a charger from the bartender, Setter. A sick man entered shortly after, rushing to the restroom, much to the annoyance of the bar's owner, Amparo, who frequently dealt with customers using the facilities without making a purchase. Israel, the homeless man, also arrived, hoping for a free meal. His loud recitation of biblical passages irritated the patrons, including a bank clerk, a street cleaner, and a former police officer. However, Nacho, wearing headphones, seemed unaffected. Sergio and Trini joined the crowd, Trini eager to gamble away her remaining funds. The bank clerk, tired of waiting for his breakfast, decided to leave. As he stepped outside, he was tragically shot. Panic erupted as the gunshot echoed through the streets, sending pedestrians fleeing. Inside the bar, chaos ensued, though Nacho remained oblivious, unaware of the incident due to his headphones. With no cellular signal, calling for help was impossible. The street cleaner, disregarding the danger, ventured outside to investigate. Tragically, he too became a victim of the violence. Israel, unperturbed, continued his biblical recitation amidst the growing fear and commotion. He expressed a desire to leave for church but was persuaded to stay with promises of more food and a later conversation with a priest. Trini, cautiously reaching for the remote, switched on the television. As they scanned the channels, a peculiar observation emerged: no mention of the recent deaths in Madrid. This suspicious silence fueled speculation and debate among the patrons. Trini's gaze turned to the outside world, revealing an even more unsettling sight. The bodies had vanished, leaving no trace of blood. The absence of any attempt to check on the victims further deepened the mystery. As the group awaited assistance, they attempted to distract themselves with television or conversation. Setter proposed outlandish theories, speculating about a dream or an abduction by aliens or the government. Amparo's slap brought him back to reality, prompting a collective analysis of the events. Elena suggested a possible connection between the victims, but the idea seemed improbable for a street cleaner and a bank clerk. Sergio, however, proposed a different explanation, theorizing that the police might be involved. They might have received a tip about a dangerous criminal inside the bar, leading them to shoot anyone exiting. This could explain the evacuation and the absence of a police raid. As the group debated this theory, Nacho decided to conceal his bag, fearing suspicion. However, his attempt was unsuccessful. Sergio and Andres restrained him while Setter seized the bag, hesitating to open it. Amparo took the bag and examined its contents, discovering clothing and a hard drive. Nacho insisted the items were work-related. Another argument ensued, but Elena intervened, taking the bag and forcefully destroying it by stepping on it repeatedly. Elena dismissed the group's theories, labeling them as childish. Nacho, angered by the suspicion directed at him due to his beard and lack of immediate response to the gunshot, retaliated by pointing out Sergio's suitcase. Amparo took possession of the suitcase, and Sergio's attempts to retrieve it led to a confrontation with Tacitor, who intervened to protect his employer. Sergio responded with a physical assault, prompting Andres to draw his weapon to de-escalate the situation. The shock of this incident provided an opportunity for Israel to steal the suitcase. After another biblical quote, he opened it, revealing a collection of lingerie, Sergio's product. At that moment, a strange noise emanated from the bathroom, reminding them of the forgotten sick man. The locked door was breached by a gunshot, revealing the man collapsed on the floor near the toilet with bleeding ears and a peculiar syringe nearby. Another noise diverted their attention, this time originating from the streets. A truck carrying heavily armed agents arrived, ignoring the group's pleas for help. Instead, they began stacking tires outside the bar, preparing to set them ablaze. A thick, dark plume of smoke from the fire was visible on television. The news anchor reported a major fire in Madrid, leading the group to realize the government's involvement in concealing the killings. The sick man emerged from the bathroom in a critical condition. He dropped his phone, warning them not to touch him before collapsing. Nacho retrieved the phone and discovered through the photos that the man was a former military member with experience in Africa. The images also revealed a group of men wearing protective suits. The puzzle pieces fell into place. The man had brought a deadly disease, explaining the evacuation and the shootings. The group, likely infected, faced a grim reality. The government's cover-up became apparent. As the group awaited their fate, they sought distractions. Israel prepared the sick man for funeral prayers, a tradition involving placing coins over the eyes. Elena and Nacho, possessing the man's phone with a dwindling battery, decided to search for a signal. Nacho managed to find a signal by climbing onto a chair near the bar's ceiling. He contacted a coworker, urging them to believe his account of the government's deception. Setter, believing Nacho was not being urgent enough, took the phone and began frantically yelling for help. The coworker, mistaking it for a prank, hung up. Nacho doubted there was enough battery for another call, leading to a dispute with Setter over the phone. The chair broke, causing both men to fall and knocking over the patrons. This unexpected event triggered Trini's slot machine, resulting in a jackpot payout. Israel quickly gathered the coins. Andres expressed a desire to use the phone next, but Amparo warned him against touching it due to its previous owner. She insisted that everyone who had come into contact with the sick man should maintain a distance. Andres and Sergio agreed with Amparo, emphasizing the need for precautions. Elena dismissed their concerns, arguing that prolonged exposure and physical contact had already occurred. However, the trio remained adamant, with Andres threatening to use his weapon to force them into the storeroom with the sick man's body. Nacho initially resisted but changed his mind when Andres shot the slot machine to demonstrate his seriousness. Israel lingered, his recitation of biblical passages delaying his departure. Amparo persuaded him to leave by offering 2 bottles of alcohol. Inside the cramped storeroom, the group engaged in conversation to pass the time. Trini, feeling claustrophobic, began to panic. She climbed the stairs and attempted to force open the door, but her efforts resulted in knocking over a box of bottles. Nacho observed that no liquid was pooling, indicating a drain that they eventually discovered after moving some objects. Upon removing the lid, they found a connection to the sewers, not very deep. Israel volunteered to enter the drain, shedding his clothes and leaving behind his bag of coins. After coating his body with oil, he attempted to descend. Despite the group's efforts to push him through, the space was too narrow, trapping Israel. Suddenly, sounds of gunfire erupted from upstairs, indicating that a group had entered the bar and attacked Amparo, Andres, and Sergio. The group then noticed a rising temperature and smoke seeping through the door. A fire had been started inside the bar, presumably for disinfection purposes. The group faced the threat of suffocation, prompting Elena, Nacho, and Soder to combine their efforts to free Israel from the drain, allowing for ventilation. Trini experienced another anxiety attack, attempting to open the door and sustaining burns to her hands. They treated her wounds with oil and toilet paper while awaiting a calmer environment. When the sounds from upstairs ceased, Nacho cautiously opened the door with a broom, revealing the charred remains of the bar but no bodies. The door had been sealed by agents, obstructing their view of the interior. The group decided to exit the storeroom, and Nacho discovered Andres's gun, concealing it in his pants despite the burning heat. Trini expressed a desire to seek help, but Nacho reminded her that revealing their presence could lead to their deaths. As none of them exhibited symptoms, Nacho believed that remaining hidden for a few days might allow the incident to fade. A sudden noise startled them, but it turned out to be the sick man's phone, receiving numerous messages. Elena examined the messages, discovering a friend was checking on the sick man. The man had apparently been ill for days and aware of being followed. He entered the bar seeking a secluded place to inject himself with an experimental serum he had acquired. While the serum had no effect on him, given his pre-existing condition, the group remained asymptomatic, suggesting a potential benefit. A phone call arrived, and Nacho hesitated to answer, fearing it might be a trap. His indecision led to the phone's battery depletion. Setter rushed upstairs to find a compatible charger, while Elena recalled a detail from the messages: 4 remaining doses. The group searched the body, finding nothing, and then rushed to the bathroom. Israel arrived first, discovering the box containing the 4 syringes. He gleefully realized his newfound power over the group. With only 4 doses for 5 people, a decision needed to be made. Israel, anticipating being voted out, injected himself with 1 dose. Nacho drew his gun but hesitated to fire, realizing the potential consequences. Elena suggested that the noise would alert the police outside. Instead, he attacked Israel, attempting to overpower him. Israel gained control of the gun and struck Soder, causing the syringe box to fall into the storeroom. Trini retrieved the box but struggled to handle it due to her bandaged hands, accidentally dropping it into the sewer. A thinner individual was needed to enter the narrow space, leaving Elena as the only option. After preparing herself, she descended into the hole, enduring pain and bleeding. The group continued to push her, and she eventually fell into the dirty water. Elena recovered the syringe box but refused to attach it to the wire, anticipating their selfish use and abandonment. She determined to rise above their behavior, refraining from using the serum herself. However, she insisted on a proper discussion before proceeding, requiring the others to join her. While Elena explored the sewers, the group used a pipe to widen the hole. Elena, After navigating through the sewers, discovered a storm drain. She hid the syringes in a wall cavity and ventured outside to observe. Special agents and police were still securing the area and handling the bodies recovered from the bar. Elena returned to the storeroom hole, finding the men had already emerged and were assisting Trini, whose struggles had caused everyone to fall into the water. Setter and Trini managed to escape, but Nacho seized the opportunity to attack Israel, attempting to retrieve the gun. A struggle ensued underwater, and after gunshots were heard, Nacho emerged victorious, claiming that Israel had fired the shots and disappeared after losing the gun. The group suspected Nacho of killing Israel, whose behavior had become increasingly erratic. Tired of the chaos, Elena demanded that Nacho dispose of the gun if he wanted her to lead them to the syringes. Instead of complying, Nacho threatened to kill Soder, forcing Elena to reluctantly agree to guide them to the wall. On their way, Trini utilized the bag of coins she had stolen from Israel, dropping them on the ground to mark their path. As they entered a dark tunnel, Trini feigned distress, accusing Soder of pushing her while it was actually she who had pushed him into the water. Trini feigned an attempt to rescue Soder, but secretly she was holding his head underwater, intending to drown him. Nacho fired a shot, illuminating the scene and revealing Trini's actions. He immediately jumped into the water to save Soder. The group moved to a better lit tunnel, keeping Trini at gunpoint, but Nacho hesitated to fire. Trini confessed her desire for anonymity and seized the gun, disappearing around a corner. The remaining trio located the syringes and divided them. Before they could use the syringes, they heard the sound of coins being tossed. Investigating, they discovered Trini's body with coins placed over her eyes. This turned out to be a trap. While distracted by Trini, Israel approached from behind and killed Soder. He then pursued Elena and Nacho, who fled through the tunnels until reaching a set of stairs leading outside. As they climbed, Elena tripped and lost her syringe, and Nacho was captured by Israel. Recognizing the futility of escape, Nacho offered his syringe to Elena and released his grip on the stairs, resulting in a fatal fall for both men. Elena, overcome with emotion, injected herself with the serum and then struggled to move the manhole cover at the top of the stairs. She finally succeeded, emerging from the containment zone. People stared at her disheveled appearance, and a man inquired about her well-being. A woman offered her a jacket, but Elena was too lost in her thoughts to respond. She wandered away, her mind consumed by her own experiences. Unconsciously, she passed by the man she was supposed to meet on a date. He called out her name, but she continued walking, oblivious to his presence.